Okay, lesson 9.4, line graphs. We are on page 383. Okay, so make sure that you turn your book to page 383. All right, so we're gonna make another line graph using the information that is on this table. Average monthly temperature in Tupelo, Mississippi. Yes, Tupelo is the name of the city. I know that it's kind of funny. Okay, Tupelo, Mississippi. All right. Use a table at the right for 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3. I mean, 1 through 3. 1, 2, and 3. Sorry. All right. So let's go ahead and look at number 1. What scale and intervals would be appropriate to make a graph of the data? Okay. So let's go ahead and look at the numbers right here. Of course, for the scale, okay, I'm going to write the word scale right now. Okay. Our first number would be 0 because we always want to start from the origin. Okay, 0. Now, let's go ahead and find the greatest number. Okay, the greatest number is 70. Okay, the greatest number is 70. Okay, so again, we want to always get higher. Okay, a little bit, an extra step higher than 70. Okay, so it could either be 80 or 90, or you know what? Let's just go ahead and go all the way up to 100. Okay, it doesn't matter if we go all the way up to 100. Okay, and then for the intervals, that means how is this pattern going to move? Okay, what would be the difference between the numbers in this scale? Okay, so for the intervals, we are just going to see. Okay, so we have 40, then 44, then 54, then 62, then 70. Okay, so we're going to just go ahead and skip count by 20s. Okay, so that we don't have to write a lot of numbers in our scale on the y-axis, which would be this one right here. So this would be our y-axis, all right, and then we have our x-axis. Okay, and again, we do not need to find a scale and an interval for our x-axis because we're going to use the months for our x-axis and the scale, this one, for our y-axis. Okay? All right. So step number 2, write the related pairs as ordered pairs. So we're going to make January and 40, February and 44, March and 54, April and 62, and May and 70 ordered pairs. Okay, so I'm going to open a parenthesis. Okay, I'm going to get January as my x-axis, comma, 40. Okay, so in January, the temperature was 40. Okay, and then for February, I'm going to get another parenthesis opened. I'm going to write February as my x-axis and 44 as my y-axis. Okay, another set of parentheses for March. Okay, so I'm going to write March, okay, comma, 54. So the temperature was 54 degrees in March. Okay, open another set of parentheses. Now I'm at April. So April would be the first number. I know that this is not a number, but it's the x-axis, and then 62 degrees was the temperature in April. Okay, and the last one is May. So I'm gonna open another set of parentheses. Okay, write May as my x-axis and comma 70 degrees for my y-axis. Okay, so this is the order pairs that we are going to use to plot the points in this coordinate grid so that we can create a line graph. Okay, number 3, make a line graph of the data. Okay, so of course we need a title for this line graph. So I'm just going to use the same here. Okay, I'm just gonna say Tupelos Okay, average. Tupelo's average temperature. If you want to write the same title from the table, go ahead. If you want to write the same thing, you can write it, okay? I'm just going to write it differently this time. Okay? All right. Then we need to find a title for the y-axis, which is right here. Okay, so I'm going to use the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to write temperature. Okay, it's kind of hard to write this way, but I'm going to try my best. Temperature. Okay, parentheses in degrees, which is this little like 0 Fahrenheit, little circle. Okay, I know that's very hard to read that, but you know what it means. Okay, and then I'm going to make my scale. Okay, so I'm going to start at 0. Okay, and then I'm going to skip a line and then write 20 here so that we have plenty of space between the numbers. Okay, and then skip a line, then I'm gonna write 40. Okay, why I'm skipping by 20s? Because that is the interval that I picked. Okay, what is the purpose of picking an interval? You don't want to write a lot of numbers on your scale. Okay, on your y-axis. Okay, then 60, skip a line. Okay, 80, skip a line, 100. Okay, and we're finished because the last number would be 100. Okay, now for the x-axis, which is this line right here on the bottom, we're going to use the same title for our x-axis in our table. Okay, from our table. So I'm going to write the word month. Okay, and for, okay, in this case, I'm just going to skip a line again and then write January here. Okay, skip a line and write February. Okay, skip another line and write March. Okay, skip another line and write April. Skip a line and write May. Okay, May. All right. So now that we have all the information in our coordinate grid, okay, let's just go ahead and close this line graph. Okay, so I'm going to draw another line segment and I'm going to connect, okay, the bottom line with the top line. All right. And then we're going to start plotting our points. Let's go ahead and look at the first order pairs. This is the first order pair, January 40. So I'm going to place my pencil at January and I'm going to go all the way up to 40. I'm going to plot my point. Okay, then February 44. Okay, so February and 44 would be very close to 40. Okay, so I'm just gonna plot my point right there, and then I'm gonna draw a line segment to connect them. Okay, then March 54. So I'm gonna place my pencil where March is, and I'm going to go all the way up to 54. There's no 54, I know, but remember that between 40 and 60, this line represents 50. Okay, so I'm going to plot my point. I think right there is fine. Okay, 54. All right, and then I'm going to draw a line segment to connect February with March. Then I'm going to go to April 62. Okay, so April 62 would be right here. Okay, 62. And then the last one is May 70. Okay, between 60 and 80, that line represents 70. So I'm going to, okay, plot my point on that line, and then I'm going to connect it with a line segment. Okay, now for number 4, use the graph to determine between which 2 months the least change in average temperature occurs. Okay, so what is the smallest difference? Between which month can you find the smallest difference? Okay, so between January and February, there's a difference of just 4 degrees. Okay, between February and March, there's a difference of 10 degrees. So this doesn't work. Okay, between March and April, there's a difference of 8. Is it 8 degrees? I think it doesn't work. Okay, and between April and May, there's a difference of 8 again. So which one's the smallest difference? Between which months is the smallest difference? So the smallest difference happens between January and February. And if you look at this line, okay, this line is not going as high as the other lines. Okay, so that would be the answer for number 4. Okay, between January and February. All right? Okay, so that's how we use a line graph, okay, to answer this type of questions. We need to find, in this case, we needed to find the line that did not go up, okay, didn't go up as didn't go as high as the other lines. Okay, all right, so I'm going to keep on working with you guys, even though it says right here on your own section, you already know that what that means, but I'm still going to keep working with you, okay? But I'm going to record this information on a different video because then I will not be able to upload a video that's too long, okay? So see you in a bit.